Hey guys, welcome to BetterNet. This is Roshan, and today we'll be discussing why the minimum length of the Ethernet frame has to be 64 bytes. Now, this is something I had trouble understanding with since the explanations were quite ambiguous, but today we'll understand exactly how it is so. So let's get started. Now, before we delve into this topic, let's understand how this idea stems from. In the networks of the yesteryears, we had something called as a hub to which every device gets connected. And if you were to dissect this hub, it would look something like this. Each device connected to every other device in the network via a common channel. This means if A were to send something to C, not only would C receive that, but B and D would receive those as well, right? So this basically means we have one channel, and this is analogous to we having multiple people in the room. And if two people talked at the same time, we would not understand them. So it's imperative that only one person speaks so that we can understand them clearly, right? Something similar is happening in here, and we can take the scenario where we have A sending something to C and D sending something to B at the same time. Now, a collision happens at this point in the channel, leading to a jumbled packet. Although A's packet makes to B and D's packet makes to C, their original intention, that is A to C or D to B communication, never happens because of the collision, right? So we can identify the issue in here. So that is why we have something called as CSMA CD, that is carrier sense multiple access slash collision detection, incorporated inside the Ethernet protocol. So what this CSMA CD basically is, what it means is every device on the network will listen the channel for two things. One, if the channel is free, it will start transmitting, right? Two, to detect if any collision happened on the channel, right? So these two things are the use cases of CSMA CD and greatly helps in providing a solution to the problem which we discussed earlier. Right now, let's understand this into a bit more detail, right? Firstly, let's go back to the same scenario where A is transmitting something to C and D wants to send something to B at the same time, right? Do note that this is a small packet, and at t equal to 0, A has finished sending the packet. So at this point in the channel, the collision happens and leads to a jumbled packet. So at t equal to x seconds, A detects that a collision has happened, but there are two problems in here. One is the collision has been detected long after A has sent the packet. Number two, because of this, A cannot conclude that the collision happened because of its packet or with its packet. Because from A's perspective, it could be that, okay, B and C might have sent some packets and it could have led to some collision leading to this jumbled packet. So A would never know that the collision happened with its packet and it would not retransmit those packets, right? So you can see the issue in here. So to deal with that, we have a simple solution, and the solution is detect the collision when you're still transmitting the packet, right? So let's go over this flow again. And in this scenario, let's consider that the A is still transmitting, right? So again, A is transmitting to C and D is transmitting to B, and A is still transmitting. And at this point in the channel, a collision happens leading to the jumbled packet. The jumbled packet makes it to every device in the network and eventually makes it to A. And the important thing is while A is still transmitting, right? Now A thinks, okay, I have detected a collision while I'm still transmitting. I must stop this transmission and inform on the device. So now A will stop the transmission, inform every device on the network that a collision has happened. Do not use the channel for some time, right? After a random amount of time, these devices will go through the same process, as in they will check if the channel is free. If it is free, they will start transmitting and they'll take actions accordingly, right? Now, why the frame size has to be 64 bytes at least is because with a frame size of 64 bytes or more, while A is still transmitting, and let's say if a collision happens even at the end of the channel, the collided packet can make it to A while A is still transmitting, right? And this way A can detect the collision efficiently and take actions appropriately. So this 64 bytes, this number has come out with by calculating based on a few parameters. But this is the reason why the minimum length has to be 64 bytes, so that, while A is still transmitting, it can receive the jumbled packets and detect the collision and take actions appropriately. So that explains the whole story behind the number 64 bytes, right? And nowadays, we do not worry about it because we use something called as a switch. And with switch, you have buffers. And if you were to dissect this, it would look something like this. So each and every device has a full mesh connection to every other device in the network. That way, no two devices have to worry that, okay, they have to listen for the channel and only if it's free, then they have to send, nothing like that. All the devices can send at the same time without worrying about collision. And CSMA CD, although it's incorporated into the protocol itself, it's not being used here, right? So yeah, that's all I had in this video. So like and sub if you found it helpful, and let me know if you have any questions in the comments. And thank you, and see you in the next one.